the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Welcome to Live Mike with Mike Romai. This is the show that talks about what's happening in Beaver County. Noah Haswell will have news at the top and bottom of each hour. Now, here is the host of the show, Mike Romai.
Hey, and I'm not Mike Romai. I'm Frank Sparks in for Mike this week. And we're going to start out today as we're being joined as it's our weekly, or monthly, I guess, appearance of Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having us. Maybe we should do it weekly. I always have fun whenever I come here.
Yeah, it'll be a blast, I'm sure. So, and especially with all the topics that are out there today with everybody just wondering what's going on, especially, and we're going to get into a little bit later on, as we were talking about a little bit yesterday with the vaccines and so on and so forth. But first off, why don't you tell everybody about Forward RX?
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
So Brandon Antinopoulos, pharmacist and owner of Forward RX. We are at 809 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. So we are a pharmacy on the main street in New Brighton, right next to the old Rite Aid that's in town. So we're your local independent pharmacy. Our mission is to bring transparency, affordability, and patient choice back to healthcare. We do that by eliminating the insurance middlemen that come in the way between you, your doctor, your pharmacist of your choice that are just inflating healthcare costs across the board. And so what we do is we just take whatever it costs us to get the medication from our wholesaler. We just do a simple, transparent markup. We use the same markup on all the prescriptions we dispense to come to what our price is. That works very well with generic medications. So 90% of the drugs that are dispensed in the U.S. are generic. 80% of those cost less than a cup of coffee. So why we're using insurance to process prescription claims on something so inexpensive, it actually increased costs. So for us, what we do is we just said we're not going to sign the insurance contracts that are forcing pharmacies to price gouge people and increasing costs. So whatever it costs us, we do our simple markup, and we're very transparent. And we post all of our prices online also. So we've been doing this since May of last year. It's been working out really well. We continue to grow, and thanks to the radio station for helping us spread the word too, because a lot of the folks that are coming into the pharmacy, they hear about us at the radio. So it's been a very great opportunity for us.
So let me get this straight. So it's cheaper to actually go through you to do some types of drugs than it is to turn it into your insurance.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. So there was a study out a couple years ago. Folks that had deductibles on their insurance. 79% of the time, it was actually cheaper just to pay the cash price.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and as if you haven't seen already, we're going to start seeing it here in the next couple months. The drastic premium increases and expected premium and healthcare cost increases going into next year. So even though most insurance plans nowadays, they have a deductible or a high deductible, 20% of Medicare beneficiaries, they have the $2,000 out-of-pocket max this year. That's increasing to $2,100 next year. Only 20% of the beneficiaries will actually ever hit that cap, as well as only 10% of folks that have insurance through work that have a high deductible will ever meet their deductible. So we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars a year in premiums for benefits we'll never use. Most of the people. There are certainly that 10% and that 20% of folks that their insurance is very beneficial, protects them from a high cost, unpredictable event so that they don't have financial harm. That was the purpose of insurance all along. But in many of the other cases, it's either just the same price or less expensive just to pay our regular price than what it is to actually use your insurance.
So like a basic, blood pressure pill. Like I'm on a blood pressure pill myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So a basic blood pressure pill like that probably is cheaper through you than what it is if you go through one of the bigger pharmacies and turn it into your insurance.
Yeah. So if your insurance is one that's a high deductible plan, so most blood pressure medications for a month supply, I would say actual pharmacy's cost is less than $1.
Wow.
So what we do is we do for a 1 month supply, 5% markup on our actual cost, plus $10 that goes into what our pricing would be. So like a month's supply of the most common blood pressure medications are around $10 to $11 for that month's supply. For our 3 month supply price is probably like $16 to $18.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I pay $40 deductible for 3 months supply of it's called like Herbisartan.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yeah. So that would be an example
I'll have
where
to come visit you, I think.
Yeah, you can
right.
come visit.
Yeah.
We have those medications listed on our price checker on our website. But I always tell folks, even if we're around the same price or maybe we're a little bit more expensive, at least now you have the choice because your insurance preferred pharmacy, as you can see with Rite Aid closing and potentially more pharmacies that have going to be closing in the coming years, and of all the pharmacies that have closed in the past, your choices are being limited. And so a lot of people think like I can only use the pharmacy my insurance tells me to use. And in reality, if our price is good enough for you to not have to deal with the headache and hassle that's happening in some of the other pharmacies right now, that's your choice. You don't have to let the insurance tell you what to do or dictate what for you to do.
Now, is this an idea you came up with, or is it something someone else did and you said, "Oh, I like this," and jumped on board?
Yeah, so I can't take the credit for the idea.
Okay.
So a friend of mine, he opened Blueberry Pharmacy in Westview, Pennsylvania, 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago. Actually, it was February of 2020 when he opened the doors, and he said, "I'm not gonna contract with insurance." He said, "I'm willing to bet that as long as you're upfront with people and charge a fair price, that they're willing to pay that price to remove all the hassles." And he did see a lot of people being price gouged for what's called specialty generic medications. So medications that are used for like cancer treatment, MS, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, the medications that aren't routinely considered covered or preferred formulary. Patients were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for drugs that cost all pharmacies $40 or $50 to stock on
That's
their
crazy.
shelf. Yeah. So he started. Everyone told him he was nuts. And even when he started the pharmacy, he was licensed to open in February of 2020. A week later, all the businesses got told they had to shut down because of COVID. But here he is, five years later, 200 5-star reviews for his pharmacy. And he's been a big believer that we need more pharmacies like ours. So seeing what he was doing, Mark Cuban, shortly after Blueberry Pharmacy had opened, did his online version of this model. And so it's just becoming more clear as healthcare is getting worse and worse in the United States as far as what the benefit we're getting for what we're paying into it. The future of at least independent pharmacy really in ensuring access for the community is in this model.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you and him the only two in our area that, like here in the Western PA area, that have pharmacies like that?
That are fully this model.
Okay.
Yeah, there are probably 2 or 3 other independents that utilize this pricing for as a membership model. To where if you pay to become a member or get access to like their savings club, it's this pricing. But there's about currently, I think, 3 dozen independent pharmacies in the country that are doing just this. But that number's continuing to grow. There's ones in Ohio, a new one in Rhode Island that just opened, and I think there's going to be 3 more coming in Pennsylvania. And it's a great thing too for younger pharmacists that have maybe aspirations of wanting to own their own pharmacy one day, and are being told by the industry veterans like, nope, don't do it. Pharmacy's dying. That's certainly not the case. At least that's what I tell Isaac every day that he's on rotation with me.
So besides like prescription drugs.
Yeah.
What are some of the other services you offer? Do you have like over-the-counter medicines for colds and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we have over-the-counter medicines. We have like our own formulary. Actually, I had Isaac. Isaac, he's our student on rotation. Why don't you say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hi. I'm on rotation with Brandon. I'm Isaac. I went to Blackhawk, and I'm on rotation with him from pharmacy school. I'm in my last year of pharmacy school. So I spend different rotations in 5-week blocks going around to other pharmacies and helping out and learning what different pharmacies do and different business models. So it's been great to be with Brandon for the last 2.5 weeks.
So Forward RX has been your favorite so far, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes. It's definitely the most interesting, and seeing how he's able to impact patients in a more affordable way has been great.
Okay.
But one of the things he even noticed was our front end. So if anyone comes to our pharmacy, like our pharmacy counter, we're right up at the front. You know, our front end's 100 square feet. That's it. And it's kind of like a curated over-the-counter formulary. So things that we know are beneficial. I'm not trying to compete on price with Walmart and Amazon on a lot of the things. So, but at least for the things that, you know, patients come in and say like, hey, I got these symptoms going on. Like, what do you recommend? I have my OTC formulary, so to speak, that I could go and grab on the shelf. And, you know, we were looking at sales of a pharmacy our size compared with your typical independent. And even Isaac had mentioned, he was like, wow, yeah, I know pharmacies that don't even do anywhere near the front end sales. And it was an example to say like, see, think of all these big box stores and all the stuff that on the shelf that, you know, either don't work or just have great marketing. Like, you don't need that. So it's kind of like getting back to almost what pharmacy used to be. You know, whenever my dad was in it and others were in it, you know, you just walked in, you had a good relationship with your pharmacist. You know, we're one of the most accessible healthcare providers, and just said like, hey, I got this going on. Like, what do you recommend? Yeah. So it's very much, even though, you know, it may seem like this new innovative thing, you know, really we're taking a step backwards in history and getting more into what pharmacy used to be like, you know, back in the day.
Well, being a New Brighton kid, everybody knew your dad. Your dad was my pharmacist when I was a kid, too.
Oh,
so,
okay. Yeah.
So that's growing up in New Brighton, that's where you always went.
Yeah.
So now I got a funny one I'm going to share with you, which is kind of cool. Being the fact I knew I was covering for Mike and you're coming in this week, we do this series called Way Back When, that's old football games from the games gone past. And last week we did the Monaca-Rochester game from 2000.
Oh, there we go.
And believe it or not, I'm listening to it, netting out the commercials, and there is a commercial for Pete's Apothecary in there as well. So I have to pull it out and send it to you so you can listen to it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I was like, hey, he's coming in. Brandon's coming in next week, so that'd be pretty cool to share it with him.
Yeah,
so.
my brothers Josh and Jimmy Antinopoulos, they went to Monaca.
Okay.
So
right.
During the time they were in those Monaca-Rochester games.
I was going to say there was one of them on that
games.
team, wasn't there? On the 2000 team, if I'm not mistaken.
That was probably I
want to say
that
Josh.
was probably Josh then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I think Jimmy was a '98 graduate.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So,
Oh, cool.
Well, that's pretty. I'll have to share it with you. I'll have to see if I can find it and send it to you. So it's a pretty neat thing. So Isaac, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've always been interested in pharmacy from a young age. I think around 5 years old is when I said I wanted to be a pharmacist. And,
Okay.
you know, it's a hard road to get into pharmacy school, but once you get in, you start feeling more comfortable in the pharmacy. You love it and start loving taking care of patients and seeing patients. And I've worked in a couple different areas of pharmacy now, and no matter where I'm at, I'm just happy to be there.
So, what do you want to do once are you graduated and you're just doing a rotation now, or are you still in school?
So the way pharmacy school works is you spend your first 2 years doing undergraduate courses, and
Okay.
then you move on. You have 3 years of pharmacy courses. Then your last year, before you get your degree, you go and do rotations and do internships. So I'm doing that right now, and then I'll graduate in May.
Okay.
And then I'll sit for my board exams. And then after that, I'll be working with a large chain of pharmacies in the area.
So you already know what you're doing.
You could say it.
I think that following corporate rules, I'm not supposed to say the
Oh,
name of the
okay.
chain.
There you go. All right.
I think
that's
that would
funny.
be unapproved public encounters, but
I don't know though. We got somebody from Blackhawk in New Brighton. I don't know how that's working out too well.
we're having
So-
a great time together. We're getting along great.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's been great, and we're excited for Isaac. He's already been offered a position after graduation. Right. Yeah, with the chain, even in the area too. So
That's awesome.
everyone thinks that there's competition and stuff among, local pharmacies, both independent and chain. And, while that may be true to like some extent, but as Isaac can probably attest, like we try to know who all the pharmacists are in the independents and the chains, because whenever, we're faced with something, we're trying to find other pharmacies that at least can help. Obviously in our model, it doesn't make sense for high-priced brand medications or expensive generics where it's more beneficial to use insurance. So to have a connection with Isaac now, whenever he's going to be graduating, I can easily refer people to him or other independents or other chains as well. So it's very. I'm very happy that Isaac's going to be staying in the area. Wherever he decides to do, wherever he works for, is going to be a good thing for Beaver County.
100%. I mean, we're patient first. No matter where you're at in pharmacy, we put the patients first, and we're happy to know each other as pharmacists. And the community really isn't that big of pharmacists, and just having that relationship. And when there's transfers that need processed, knowing who you're talking to is just great. So we're always happy, and there's not a lot of rivalry in pharmacy.
Well, at least you didn't have a job set up at Rite Aid, right?
That is very true. That is very true. Yes, I was not part of that.
So how much has that affected business, the fact that Rite Aid is now shut down?
Yeah, sure. So it's benefited us in a sense that we are creatures of habit. I think change, we try to avoid change as much as possible. And even what I've noticed that whenever patients decide to leave their pharmacy and come to a new pharmacy like ours, the savings is usually $40 to $50 on one single prescription. That is enough to justify them just saying like, hey, I'm going to give this new pharmacy a try. One of my little sayings is that, come for the savings, stay for the service. So usually after that is when first couple times of experiencing us compared to the pharmacy they were going to before, now they may start to think about like, hey, you know what, I'm got a zero copay on this one generic, but I really don't like waiting 45 minutes or 10 cars deep in a drive-through. What's your price on this? Maybe it's worth it to me just get as much as possible from Forward RX Pharmacy, since I'm happy with the service. So at least with the Rite Aids closing, there was a major disruption, and now people having to decide, okay, where am I going to go now? We had a lot of people coming in at one point, 10 patients a day coming in looking for transfers. About half of them, our model was very beneficial in their scenario. About the other half, it was best for them to use their benefits as much as possible at a pharmacy that takes it. And so, the comments that we got from those patients are like, wow, this is a lot cheaper than what my insurance copay would have been. And they would never have recognized that if it wasn't for, the Rite Aid closing. So from increasing awareness about us, getting new patients, that's helped us. However, anytime a community loses access to any pharmacy, it's not a good thing. It puts excessive burden on those patients. It puts excessive burden on the other pharmacies that are around that are still open. Rite Aid closed because of not being reimbursed enough on the prescriptions they were dispensing. Now that's being concentrated to other pharmacies and other independent pharmacies. That's going to impact their business and further add to the decline and closing of pharmacies. So while it's been good for us in this moment to help increase awareness and people to find us that wouldn't otherwise have looked for us, certainly it's not a good thing anytime a community loses any pharmacy.
I always say, too, when you have competition, it keeps everybody honest.
Exactly. And we don't have, I wish we could change healthcare to, rather than the government funding third parties or sending the money to the insurance companies, that it's almost set up almost like how the food stamp program is, to where we just send those dollars directly to people. We load them on the HSA or the FSA cards, whether monthly or annually, and then the providers or the pharmacies are left to compete on price and service. Because then there's other pharmacies can charge the prices that we do. The insurance contracts prevent them from doing that.
Gotcha.
So if we eliminated some of those insurance contracts or the language in there, yes, then pharmacies would be free to compete on price and service. You would have choice, and you would probably see more pharmacy options in the community that you see now. But you're absolutely right. Anytime there's competition, true competition, what we have a lot in U.S. healthcare is the illusion of competition, which really patients are being steered.
There's a lot of gouging.
Yes, a lot of price gouging, a lot of patient steering, a lot of capture of those premium dollars. And whenever you have healthcare entities that are both the provider, the hospital, the insurance company, many steps are taken to ensure that your services stay within that house, as opposed to come to a pharmacy like Forward RX, even if it's in your best interest.
All right, we're visiting this morning with Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX. He is making his monthly appearance here. Also in tow this month, Isaac May, who is with him as doing a rotation with them over the next couple weeks. But we're going to take a break for news, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this new type of crowdsourced loan investment that we were talking. We said we were going to talk about. So we'll hit that, and then we'll talk about vaccines and which ones are the right ones to get as we're going into fall, whether it's flu, COVID, so on and so forth. So we'll have that much more, and you'll also be able to call in and ask any questions that you want as well. But we're going to take a short break, and then Noah's up with news right after this here on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio and the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company have teamed up again for the third annual Cruise in the Ridge Car Cruises. This year's car cruises are presented by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, AK Nahas Appliance Furniture, Mattress, and TV, and Dan Hoffman State Farm Insurance. Join us Saturday, September the 20th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the final cruise of the year. Cruise is held at the Beaver County Radio Studios at 4301 Dutch Ridge Road, Brighton Township. Solid Gold Saturday host J.D. Merkel will spin tunes in the parking lot. There'll be food trucks, a 50-50, Chinese auctions, and swap meets. The theme for September is Mustangs. There also will be a Howdy Honey pinup contest to benefit the Free Care Fund. Cruises are rain or shine, and the first 100 cars receive a dash plaque. Collect all 5 for a chance at a special prize at the end of the year. Cruising on the Ridge also is sponsored by the William Murphy Funeral Home, Forward RX, the Lisa and Tank Latham team at eXp Realty, Electric Garage Door Sales, J. Young Refuse, the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company, and Beaver County Radio.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Saturdays at noon, brought to you by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the Latham team at eXp Realty, Canoes Body Works, and Beaver County Radio.
Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, proudly presents Military Expo. Sea, air, land, space, Pennsylvania Patriots serving you. Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, invites you to attend the special free admission event on September 20th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Beaver County Airport, 35 Piper Street, Beaver Falls. See interactive displays to showcase several types of military equipment, all designed to increase awareness of the missions of all military service branches and to aid in recruiting and retention. The Military Expo, Saturday, Saturday, September 20th at the Beaver County Airport. Presented by Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, where friends send friends. Also sponsored in part by McClellan's Roofing, Community College of Beaver County, and Moon Township Honda.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Close up and touch impressive displays of current military equipment with personnel from all branches of service available for live demonstrations. Food and drink available. The Pennsylvania Military Expo, Saturday, September 20th. All presented by your friends at Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Tuesday, September 9th of 2025, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. According to Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver County, 41-year-old Bradford L. Ankrom of the area of Clinton, Pennsylvania, was the man that was killed in an accident that involved 3 vehicles in Hanover Township along Route 30 on September 2nd, 2025. This crash that occurred that day at 6:32 p.m. caused the Beaver County coroner David J. Gabauer to make an appearance. Ankrom hit a truck after he lost control of his motorcycle. Ankrom also hit a car after he was ejected from his motorcycle. There were no injuries to the drivers of both the car and the truck, and both drivers did not get any charges for this Hanover Township 3-vehicle accident that occurred on September 2nd, 2025. Other details of the cause of the death of Ankrom is unknown at this time. According to a release from Congressman Chris DeLuzio's office, DeLuzio, a member of the House Armed Service Committee, introduced a bill yesterday to require greater transparency when the Pentagon purchases products with massive price increases from defense contractors. The Defense and Pricing Transparency Act was introduced yesterday, and that introduction is the latest in the ongoing work of DeLuzio to fight price gouging in the Department of Defense. The Defense and Pricing Transparency Act makes a requirement for contractors to report within 30 days to officers of contracting when product prices exceed or reach certain thresholds of price increase. Gas prices are 11 cents higher in western Pennsylvania this week at $3.54 per gallon, according to AAA East Central's gas price report. As fall begins, the national average is $3.19 for a gallon of regular gasoline. The report states that at this time a year ago, the average price for a gallon of gas in western Pennsylvania was around $3.58. The report also notes that the average price that you can expect for a gallon of unleaded gas here in Beaver County is about $3.70. According to a release from Grove City College, a women's college volleyball game between Grove City College and Carnegie Mellon University will take place tonight at 6 p.m. at Grove City College in Grove City, Pennsylvania, to raise money for those battling cancer and to raise awareness to fight cancer. Besides hosting a volleyball game, Leo Sales, the head women's volleyball coach of Grove City College, was diagnosed with stage 1 active multiple myeloma. You can also donate at the GoFundMe link on our website at BeaverCountyRadio.com to support both Sales and his effort to donate to the Allegheny Health Network Cancer Institute at Grove City Hospital and to raise awareness about blood cancer. And Governor Josh Shapiro's administration is approving the use of hundreds of millions of dollars in capital project funding for Philadelphia's public transit agency to help it restore bus, trolley, and rail services that it had eliminated to shore up its deficit-riddled finances. The approval Monday came after Shapiro and Democratic lawmakers had been unable to persuade enough Republican lawmakers to approve more transit aid to help fill deficits at transit agencies around Pennsylvania. The Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority had made the request to comply with a judge's order to undo the 2-week-old cuts. A similar request is likely to come from Pennsylvania's next largest public transit agency, Pittsburgh Regional Transit.
Beaver County forecast.
Mostly sunny today. We'll see highs near 75. Clear skies tonight. We'll drop down to a low around 46. Sunshine tomorrow. Look for highs in the upper 70s and lows around 48. And the stretch of sunshine will continue on Thursday. We can expect to see highs near 80 and lows around 51. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, September 9th of 2025 at 39 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 63 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Welcome to Live Mike with Mike Romai. This is the show that talks about what's happening in Beaver County. Noah Haswell will have news at the top and bottom of each hour. Now, here is the host of the show, Mike Romai.
And we're back here. Frank Sparks in for Mike Romai today. Visiting this morning with Brandon Antinopoulos from Ford RX. Also in tow with them is Isaac May, who is, I guess, interning would be a good word for it, at Ford RX for now. Now, we were goofing around a little bit. I call it goofing around, but we were checking into it over the news a little bit. So I brought up my 3 medicines that I take, and compared to what I pay, you show me the pricing of Ford RX, and it will save me probably 60 to 70% of what I'm paying right now.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
That
just shows you how much of a markup's on all that and how much gouging is going on.
Yeah.
So.
And unfortunately, you know, I've been around it my whole life. You know, grew up in pharmacy. You know, worked a lot of different positions, corporate positions, and just, you know, saw the way that our healthcare, especially when it comes to pharmacy benefits and pharmacy services, it's just not designed to benefit the patients as well as the providers, or in this case, the pharmacies. So for us to be able to do what's right for you as the patient, and for us to have a sustainable business, unfortunately, it just means that we can't sign the insurance contracts. But that's how we're able to offer you cost plus pricing on those medications that, as you saw, you know, very, very common prescriptions, and just depending on how your insurance benefit is designed, and or what your employer's paying through, or what you have, you know, all those premium dollars being taken out of your paycheck, you know, each time or each month, all for the benefit of paying higher prices at the pharmacy. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So Isaac, 2.5 weeks ago, when you first came into Ford X, did you already know about this type of pharmacy? And if not, what's your impression so far?
Yeah, I did know about this type of pharmacy. I mean, he was talking about his friend who opened Blueberry. Blueberry's a little bit closer to the city, and coming from the University of Pittsburgh, we've always been told in pharmacy school not to be afraid to refer people to Blueberry if they're having a hard time paying for their medications, because they are oftentimes a lot cheaper than the other pharmacies. So that gave me an introduction a little bit into the business model that Brandon's using. And then before the rotation, I was looking at his website and was looking at the costs of some of the medications and comparing it to copays I see in other places. And I'm like, wow, that is really big savings for the patients.
I mean, he just proved it just now. I was like, holy smokes. Yeah.
It's insane.
So, yeah.
It's insane, especially that, you know, there's some more, you saw some nice savings with your medications, but there's some more extreme examples that I've seen the last 2.5 weeks with him, where we're approaching that $300 mark per one medication.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's shocking.
Yep. So that's what we're here to be. Again, our mission is transparency, affordability, and patient choice, even if we're not the cheapest option or if we're not the most beneficial option. Our hope with the price check and our transparency is, at least, you know, what you just experienced. I think everyone just wants to know, hey, am I being hosed,
right,
or not? And I think
we all know we're being hosed. It's just a matter of where can we get it less at. I mean, let's be real. Between the healthcare is just gouging left and right, no matter whether it's medication or whether you're going to the doctors or not. They just, I mean, you know, you pay out of pocket, you might pay $50 to go to the doctor, but it's $135 when you look on your insurance.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just it's a broken system that nobody seems to want to fix, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about this crowdsourced loan investment.
Yeah, sure. So we're, as I said, we're growing. You know, our volume of patients and customers that we're taking on. It's been both humbling and exciting. And along with that, we recognize that with the Rite Aid closures, a lot of patients are now feeling kind of more strain either at the pharmacy that they're at, or they just don't have access to any pharmacy at all. So we're in a point where now we want to be able to hire a part-time pharmacist to be at the pharmacy, so that way I can get out more, kind of spreading the word, be in the community, as well as start offering delivery. So right now I deliver after hours. After the pharmacy closes, if it's on my way home between New Brighton and Conway, someone wants a delivery, I'll drop it off after hours.
Dude, that's old school,
like
man.
That's old school. My favorite job, like growing up in the family's pharmacy, was delivery driver. Really? I don't know.
Wow.
Being out on the road, going to people's homes, like saying, hey, that was like one of the most fulfilling positions I had in the pharmacy. So, my wife and kids, they may not like it as much or appreciate it, but yeah, like you said, old school, along with the doctor visits going to the homes.
Call a big box pharmacy and see what happens. They're gonna hang up on you. Okay, find a way to get down here.
So at least we want to be able to expand our delivery services.
That's
now.
awesome.
And so reaching a wider geographic area within the county, also having more convenient hours rather than just when Brandon closes up the shop and dropping it off afterwards. So we are looking to raise funds to be able to invest in growing our staff and invest in growing these services. So we partnered up with a company called Honeycomb Credit. They're national, but they're based out of Pittsburgh. And they help with these crowdsourced investment opportunities. So the best way I could describe it, it's kind of like a GoFundMe fundraiser, but you're not just donating. You're actually going to get your money back plus the rate of return that's on the loan. So for Forward RX, it looks like a loan. Instead of just getting the loan from the bank, it's near loan interest rates, but it's actually the loan is funded by individual investors. So we pay the loan monthly. Honeycomb Credit, they take care of quarterly paying the investors their proportionate share of what they invested plus the interest. So we're looking to raise at least $25,000 with a max target of $60,000. We got about a little over 2 weeks left, I think, in this fundraising. Yeah, so we got about 25 investors right now with just shy of $13,000. So pretty excited. And again, I think the cool thing is a lot of the investors that we've seen their names coming across, there's only a handful of folks that I know, or at least in this area. These are people from all over the country.
Oh, that's cool.
That are established Honeycomb Credit investors. They see investing in mission-driven small businesses as part of their investment portfolio. So it's been exciting to see, both the comments as well as the financial commitments to do so. So we're doing that. And if anyone has any interest, if they want to support, again, the mission or invest in our mission to bring transparency, affordability, and patient choice, kind of what we're doing at Forward RX, so that we can continue to expand our services for the community. $100 minimum investment.
I was going to ask you, what's the minimum on that?
Yeah, so $100. So, don't feel the need that it has to be like this large check. That's the nice thing about these crowdsource investment opportunities. Any little amount helps, and you get your
return rate's pretty good at 12.5% though too.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about this. So we actually get to pick our interest rate.
Okay.
So you're given hey, here's the range that we suggest. And so for me as the business owner, it's kind of like, okay, now I'm now competing against other businesses that are trying to raise funds. What interest rate do I think is going to be a competitive rate to maybe grab the attention of the investor? We can't say you're guaranteed to get 12.5%. We can only say up to 12.5%. Right. You wouldn't get that if one or two things happen. One, if I pay the loan back early, just like with any other loans work, that means you as the investor wouldn't maximize that opportunity. I have no interest in doing that because I see this as, again, these are people investing in me, my family, in the business, and as a thank you, I feel like I would want to make sure to pay that loan out within the 3 years as a thank you for making that investment and that commitment. And obviously, if we were to close, or go bankrupt, which I feel pretty good about our financial position, But in full disclaimer, those would be the cases where someone would not get their return.
So if someone gives you, like, say they put $1,000 into it, how long does it take them to get any type of return off it or anything?
So the payments are quarterly once the loan amount is funded. This particular investment, it's a 3-year loan, so we would be paying that off for 3 years, and the interest rate is that 12.5% annually. I believe Honeycomb Credit, they're very transparent too. They charge a transaction fee based on how you pay or how you fund that initial investment. They also take 8.5% of whatever the total funds raised. That's kind of like their cut for filing all the SEC paperwork and managing this whole process, which again, when we looked at other loan or investment opportunities, actually ends up costing us less money if we were to do it through other traditional loan strategies too. So that's another thing we liked about working with them is that individual investors, very mission driven, as well as very transparent in how they charge or the money that they take out.
All right. So what I'll do is after the show's over today, I will put a link as well in the Facebook feed. So then
yes,
if people
thank
want
you.
to donate, we'll put it in there.
Yes,
so.
Thank you. And anyone listening, again, if you don't have the financial means to support us, that is okay. But if you like what we're doing, all I ask is that you please share and spread the word, because that certainly helps also.
All right, we're visiting this morning with Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX, along with Isaac May. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to call at 724-774-1888 and 843-1888. When we come back, we're going to talk about vaccines. And should you get a flu vaccine? Should you get a COVID vaccine? As we know, the cold weather is just around the corner here on Beaver County Radio.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 13th from 10 to 5 to spend the day at the Beaver County Airport for the first ever Drive and Fly Aviation and Classic Car Show at the Air Heritage Aviation Museum. Falcone's Moon Township Ford will present Beaver County Radio's live broadcast throughout the show. There will be hot rods, hot planes, food trucks, a chance auction, tons of fun, and great oldies being played by Beaver County Radio's Frank Sparks and Curtis Walsh. You can also spin the Beaver County Radio birthday prize wheel for your chance to win some really cool prizes. Beaver County Radio's live broadcast at the Air Heritage Aviation Museum is being presented by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends. It's also brought to you by McLean's Roofing, the Community College of Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
What's everyone in Beaver County talking about? It's Beaver County Radio, brought to you exclusively by Fry Transportation. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team in Beaver County.
Got kids? Too much to do? No time to cook? Download the McDonald's app today and get dinner delivered straight to your door from DoorDash. McDonald's makes it easy for you and your family. Download the app today and get exclusive deals and rewards. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, proudly presents Military Expo. Sea, air, land, space, Pennsylvania Patriots serving you. Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, invites you to attend the special free admission event on September 20th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Beaver County Airport, 35 Piper Street, Beaver Falls. See interactive displays to showcase several types of military equipment, all designed to increase awareness of the missions of all military service branches and to aid in recruiting and retention. The Military Expo, Saturday, September 20th at the Beaver County Airport. Presented by Moon Township Ford, representing the neighborhood Ford stores, where friends send friends. Also sponsored in part by McLean's Roofing, Community College of Beaver County, and Moon Township Honda.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Close-up and touch impressive displays of current military equipment with personnel from all branches of service available for live demonstrations. Food and drink available. The Pennsylvania Military Expo, Saturday, September 20th. All presented by your friends at Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Everybody knows that credit unions are a better deal because they are nonprofit and member-owned institutions. But did you know that at Freedom United Federal Credit Union, we have over 150 sponsor groups and almost 7,000 members? This is Kaylin Smith, and I just discovered some of this myself. I'll bet you didn't know that all of our members receive an automatic $3,000 accidental death life insurance policy just for joining our family. It is true. You really can get something for nothing. Here's another fun fact. The Rochester office on Adams Street used to be home to the American Legion, and that's where all those fabled Legion dances took place. Whatever the reason, come see us today. Freedom United Federal Credit Union, where the interest is in you. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Your success is our success. We belong to you.
Have you ever found something interesting that makes you go, oh? Then tune in every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 p.m. on Beaver County Radio for the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Drury. Orlana relates her views about informing, inspiring, and entertaining headlines that makes the world go round in interviews with local influencers that make you go, oh. The episode will be on Beaver County Radio Facebook and YouTube pages, so make sure to join the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Drury every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 right here on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly sunny today. We'll see highs near 75. Clear skies tonight. We'll drop down to a low around 46. Sunshine tomorrow. Look for highs in the upper 70s and lows around 48. And the stretch of sunshine will continue on Thursday. We can expect to see highs near 80 and lows around 51. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
Currently in Beaver County, let's see here. My phone's not, 67 degrees. Let's say phone's not liking me right now, but it is 67 degrees. It's going to be a nice day, nice stretch of weather. And we were just talking about it during the break, the New Brighton Halloween Parade. Gary Rummel was in here about the Halloween Parade. That's one of the traditions. You know this is going to be year 100 for that parade?
100.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, ever since I've been a kid, I always remember going down there. But yeah, they were trying to figure it out, and they finally figured out it's 100 years old.
Wow. Well,
So-
I know, when my family had Pizza Apothecary and Hometown Apothecary, and it was always nice kind of having a business on the main street, being there for the parade and that kind of stuff. And I know it was, I don't know, a nice warm feeling or proud moment having a business back on the main street down there. And
That's
even
cool.
though, we live in Conway, it's still taking the kids down there for the Halloween parade, because New Brighton does a really good Halloween parade.
How many people come through your door and say, hey, I knew your dad? Probably just about everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Your dad was great. Everybody in New Brighton loved him, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So-
he was a great pharmacist.
Yeah.
As far as his knowledge of the medications, and then even supplements and stuff too. I've kind of taken that approach also as medications are great. They have their uses. They also have their side effects, and if we can avoid the side effects and still get the same benefits, whether through other vitamins or supplements, diet and lifestyle. That's something that we go over with people too at Forward RX.
All right, so we didn't hit vaccines, but you said you'll hang out for a little bit and we can talk about vaccines after news?
Yeah,
All right.
sure. Yeah, I think it's
All right.
important because there's a lot of, I'm sure as everyone's aware, a lot of news about this, a lot of changes that are happening in the pharmacy that I think people are not used to, at least that have been used to since before the pandemic. And always with changes and headlines, it seems like anything is, polarizing or has politics associated with it. So I felt, even though we don't do vaccines at Forward RX, simply just because, the cheapest thing is a flu vaccine, where a pharmacy's cost on that may be, I don't know, $20 to $25. So for us to do our pricing compared to most everyone can get a flu vaccine at zero copay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The listeners tell us if you feel like a $40 flu shot is worth it to not stand in line somewhere else or for a good experience. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we're not at the point yet where people are willing to make that jump when it's zero copay. And especially with the COVID vaccine, I think a lot of people don't know is the COVID vaccine actually costs anywhere between $150 to $200 a shot.
Okay.
And so again, that's why we don't have them there, because I can't see people paying that much money for that vaccine, whenever most of the time, if it is covered, it is a zero copay. So even though we don't do the vaccines, I think it was still important for us, as I just want to be a trusted resource, and again, kind of remove the hype and the politics from some of the stuff that's
Well, as
out
you
there.
heard yesterday, it was it's an important conversation to a lot of our listeners, as you mentioned.
Yep. So no, and I appreciate the tee up, because again, I think if an Armand was just like, hey, here's the benefits, here's the risks. Even before COVID, healthcare, I think the focus was very much a patient-centered, shared decision-making approach. Everyone has different risk and benefit tolerances in their situation, so I figured we could just talk about what life was like with vaccines in the pharmacies before the pandemic, during, and kind of like what it is now. And I think there's also just a lot of confusion, a lot of different experiences people are going to face in the pharmacy, even as we talk about through some of the confusion. So at least want to equip people with that information, so they don't feel like when they go to their pharmacy, their expectation is not matched and they take it out on the staff or something like that.
Right. I gotcha. So, and as a side note, today was supposed to be the Beaver Valley Power Station test at 11 o'clock.
We do have that coming up.
Somebody decided to hit the button early because it already went off. So if you hear whistles going off, it already went off. So as we were sitting here talking, my phone's going crazy and ballistic. So if you do hear sirens, there's no emergency. It's just the siren test for the Beaver Valley Power Station they have each and every year. So, all right, we're going to take a short break for news, and Brandon and Isaac are going to kind of hang out, and Noah's going to come in and do news. And then when we come back, we'll discuss vaccines and some of the alternatives of things you can do to try and help, especially this time of year when it gets to the point the cold's getting here, and the kids are back in school, so already
It's that time of the year.
Well, I've already it's daughter come home last week with the sniffles, and then I ended up with them this week. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So it's that time of year that it's all going to be happening. So stick around, we got more to come here on Live Mike on a Tuesday morning.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Tuesday, September 9th of 2025, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The United Way of Beaver County recently awarded a total of $5,000 to 6 nonprofit organizations in Beaver County for them to keep providing groceries and meals to those that need them. The programs that received this funding were the Center for Hope of Ambridge, the Little Free Food Truck, Manna and Healing Hunger Beaver County of Aliquippa, Central United Methodist Church of Beaver Falls, the Soma Gathering of Beaver Falls, the Center of Midland, and Families Matter Food Pantry of Monaca. The United Way of Beaver County awarded this funding through local donations and a matching grant of $2,500 from Giant Eagle. Pennsylvania State Police in Newcastle report that 2 male victims, an unidentified 32-year-old man from Waterford, Pennsylvania, and an unidentified 50-year-old man from Alliance, Ohio, were victims of terroristic threats in Little Beaver Township of Lawrence County on August 21, 2025. This incident occurred on Estate Lane there. According to police, the investigation into this incident of terroristic threats was terminated because the 2 male victims refused to cooperate with police. PennDOT District 11 announced that tonight through tomorrow morning, weather permitting, lane restrictions in the westbound inbound Squirrel Hill Tunnel, I-376 Parkway East in the city of Pittsburgh will occur. From 10 p.m. tonight through 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, single lane restrictions will occur in the westbound inbound Squirrel Hill Tunnel as lighting repair work within that tunnel will be conducted by PennDOT crews there. 22 winning Powerball tickets were recently sold in Pennsylvania following the drawing for the Powerball on Saturday. According to Pennsylvania lottery officials, 3 tickets earned 3 people $100,000 after they purchased the Power Play, the Powerball, and 4 of the 5 numbers for the Saturday Powerball drawing. 2 of the 3 $100,000 winning tickets were sold in Allegheny County, with one being sold at the Giant Eagle in McCandless on McKnight Road and another being sold at a Get-Go on Grandview Drive in Richland Township. The third $100,000 winning ticket was sold in Lackawanna County. Pennsylvania lottery officials also confirmed that $50,000 was won by 19 people with winning Powerball tickets after they all matched the Powerball and 4 of the 5 numbers that were drawn from the Saturday Powerball drawing. The 22 people that won the Powerball tickets from this Saturday Powerball drawing and were the 19 winning $50,000 Powerball tickets from that Saturday Powerball drawing is unknown at this time. And Jeep is recently recalling over 91,700 vehicles because of an error within the hybrid control processor in some of them, which may lose drive power in those vehicles. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, this recall affects some 2022 to 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid electric SUVs, and Chrysler, the parent company of Jeep, does not have a fix for this hybrid control processor error in some of those vehicles. Starting on Thursday, the vehicle identification numbers for this recall can be searched on nhtsa.gov. The internal recall number for Jeep is 73C. A letter will go to the owners of these recalled Jeep SUVs after October 23, 2025, that lets them know about this hybrid control processor error. But if they want more information, Chrysler can be contacted at 800-853-1403.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly sunny today. We'll see highs near 75. Clear skies tonight. We'll drop down to a low around 46. Sunshine tomorrow. Look for highs in the upper 70s and lows around 48. And the stretch of sunshine will continue on Thursday. We can expect to see highs near 80 and lows around 51. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, September 9th of 2025 at 9 minutes after 11, we've got a temperature of 68 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Welcome to Live Mike with Mike Romai. This is the show that talks about what's happening in Beaver County. Noah Haswell will have news at the top and bottom of each hour. Now, here is the host of the show, Mike Romai.
It's just after 11 o'clock. Frank Sparks in for Mike Romai today, and doing a little OT today. Brandon Antinopoulos from Forward RX, along with Isaac May, is we got to a lot over that first hour.
Yeah, it went fast.
Yeah. So that's one thing about it. As soon as you turn your head, it's over. Yeah. So let's talk about, we talked about a bunch of different subjects, but let's dig in. Yesterday, it was a huge subject. A lot of people are upset at this point, not knowing what to do because with the federal government and RFK Jr. and a lot of misinformation that's out there, they're returning the decision, a lot of them, to the states to do things, but a lot of people concerned because they're saying there might not be enough COVID vaccine, there might not be enough flu vaccine for people. But what's your thoughts about all this and where it's at this point?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's helpful, and I'll pull me in if I get too much into the weeds on this, but I feel like it's helpful at least to explain what pharmacies and pharmacists can do as far as administering vaccines in Pennsylvania, because every state's rules and regulations regarding what pharmacists can do is a little different. And specifically what it was like with this whole like vaccine approval and the guidelines process and what pharmacists could do. But before the pandemic, what happened during the pandemic, and kind of like where we are now, I don't think it's official post-pandemic, but I kind of think of it because we are starting to kind of get back to, the way things were. Mm-hmm. So before COVID, if you wanted to get a vaccine at your local pharmacy, you either had to have a prescription from your doctor, or the pharmacist could have a standing order protocol that is signed and approved by a physician to administer vaccines as long as they were on the CDC or ACIP guidelines. ACIP being the CDC's advisory committee on immunization practices. So they were the committee of vaccine experts. They meet, they look at the data, they look at the evidence, and come up with the recommendations on who should get what, and then the CDC has the final kind of stamp of approval on that. So before COVID, pharmacists could only immunize per a vaccine protocol signed off by a physician for 18 and older, unless it was flu. I believe if it was flu, it was for 9 and older. Also, the ACIP committee, they would only meet 3 or 4 times out of the year. So also not uncommon that the FDA would approve a vaccine and there would be a time delay in between when the committee would meet to come up with, hey, here's the actual recommendation. Mm-hmm. Then we had the pandemic. Okay, so very much new disease, again, high hospitalization, high mortality rate, obviously a need to get something out there that was going to offer protection to folks. And during that time, through both administrations, the FDA and the CDC, they kind of worked very closely in coordinating. Hey, whenever approval came out, there was an authorization or the guideline by the CDC and the ACIP kind of within a day of each other, at the most a week, to say, hey, what's been approved? Here's our recommendation. And during that time period, the recommendation kind of became if whoever it's FDA approved for, that's what the CDC's recommendation is to get. Also during that time, there was authorizations allowed to pharmacists that superseded what the state regulations were. So pretty much when it came to flu and COVID vaccine, I believe it's 3 and older. Pharmacists can administer those immunizations as long as it's within the CDC approval and the CDC guidance, without a physician signing off on that. All the other vaccines, you still have to have the physician protocol sign off. But when it came to flu and COVID, pharmacists were granted federal authority that superseded whatever the state said. This past year, while pharmacists still have that federal authority to do that, the big piece is still they can only do it if it's approved by the CDC and it's on this ACIP guideline. So what we had this year is the FDA approved the new version of the COVID vaccine. They also changed the indication based on what they thought the best evidence is to say, hey, we're only going to approve it for high-risk groups, so 65 and older, and as well as 6 months to 64 with immunocompromising conditions. So we've gotten away from this sort of, hey, 6 months and older, recommending that everyone should get it, or at least offering, hey, here's some of the risk groups of where you fall. We've also had that happen a few weeks ago. Also, the CDC's ACIP, the committee that advisory committee on immunization practices, at the time they weren't expected to meet until October 7th. Now I think their next meeting is September 22nd or 23rd. So you do have a few weeks delay in between the FDA approval with the new indications, as well as the CDC actually going to have the meeting and the guidelines. So pharmacists' hands were kind of tied. Even if they had the FDA-approved vaccines in the stores, in the pharmacies, in Pennsylvania, couldn't really administer those vaccines unless you had a prescription from your doctor. So again, we're kind of getting back to how things used to be. Now Pennsylvania authority, the State Board of Pharmacy, met last week because in the regulation it said pharmacists can administer per a standing protocol with a physician vaccines that are under the CDC or the ACIP guidelines or other competent authority. But the State Board of Pharmacy never defined who the competent authority is. Last week, they defined other competent authorities to include the FDA, as well as some other non-government healthcare associations, such as the Family Practice Association, OBGYNs, as well as who's the other group? Family physician and pediatrics.
There you go.
And pediatrics, yeah, pediatric group. So now with that authority, pharmacists, they don't have to wait until ACIP to meet that they can start administering those vaccines per a physician protocol now. But here's also another layer of confusion.
Okay.
Most of the insurance companies, they decide their coverage based on what the CDC and ACIP guidelines are. So now that pharmacists in Pennsylvania that last week didn't have the authority to administer these FDA-approved vaccines autonomously unless you had a prescription from your doctor, now they do. But them being covered is still another question. So some people may be going to the pharmacy and seeing that their COVID vaccine is covered. Other ones may be going and seeing that it's not covered and maybe being told that, hey, we could do this, but it's going to be a $200,
ouch,
price tag. Yeah. And so I think what you would expect to see when you go to the pharmacy now, because I've talked to a lot of pharmacists in other areas, and some of the independents, they have it, but they're not giving it because there isn't broad insurance coverage. Other ones, they have it and they're recommending it on a case-by-case basis. Chains are kind of doing their own thing too. It seems like if you're 65 and older, you would have to double check, but there's probably a pretty good chance that your Medicare plan is going to cover the COVID vaccine. If you're under that group, still a question mark from what I'm seeing. Wow. And I think the pharmacies, they're used to being audited and getting money taken back from every little clerical error. So there's probably going to be a process in place that if you're under 65, you're probably not going to have to come with like your medical records, but the pharmacy's probably going to have to do their due diligence to document on their administration forms what was the condition that puts you at high risk for needing that vaccine. Because if they don't have that, it's very possible that the insurance company's not going to pay them for that vaccine. And then that case, after the fact, they're going to come after you to pay for the vaccine.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We've gone from you better carry that card around with you that said you had a COVID shot to the point now you got to fight to get a COVID shot if you want one.
Exactly. And so that's, and again, I think everyone, wherever your beliefs are on this subject, I'm a big believer that I think everyone just wants to feel safe.
Let me ask you this. So without getting into it, how much do you think politicizing this like they have has made a mess of it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and again, and I think it's on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened throughout, and unfortunately, the politicizing it has. I think that's what's driven a lot of the distrust in our federal institutions and the evidence-based institutions. And so, as healthcare providers, I think, especially on the front lines, I think it's up to us to kind of be the ones to regain and restore trust. And I think my best thing that I can do as a healthcare provider is keep my politics and my religion out of it and just say, here's the risks, here's the benefits in your situation, and help you to make the best choice in your situation that's going to protect you and your loved ones. And I think also in healthcare, just because a side effect happens a small percentage of the time, I think we as a lot of practitioners have just kind of overlooked the fact of mentioning what those side effects would be. And I think that's also caused a lot of this too. But, a 7% chance of having a certain side effect may not seem like a big deal to someone, but it's a big deal to the 7% of people that are going to have that side effect. So again, I think for us just to say, here's the risks, here's the benefits. I hope you make the best decision possible for yourself and your loved ones. And I think if we can get back to that, that'll start to restore some of the trust. But, obviously still when it comes to national headlines, we don't have that. And that's driving a lot of the distrust and trying to make decisions on my own from resources that I trust.
Well, and it doesn't help none that, Congress calls the head of the healthcare department out to, puts them on the stand in front of Congress. That just makes more of a mess of everything.
Exactly.
Is what they did. I mean, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, like you said, it just made a mess of everything and it's created more confusion.
The political charade of it all is not helping.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there alternatives?
Yeah. So, I think it's important taking a look at who's at risk, for both, flu and COVID or anything. So, folks that their immune system is not mature enough to be able to handle fighting off whatever the bacteria, whatever the virus is, and being okay. And again, we're trying to prevent hospitalization and we're trying to prevent deaths. And if you take a look at who are the groups that immune systems are not mature enough that their risk increases, it's always young children who, their immune systems just aren't exposed to enough to have the defenses to fight that initially. You have the elderly who their immune systems weaken over time as they age. And then you have people with immunocompromised conditions, whether because of medications they may be on that are helping to treat whatever condition they have, but it weakens their immune system, or other factors. So those are the ones where you just want your immune system to be in the best position possible to protect itself. And in cases there are high benefit, low risk, where it does come with immunizations. But if you're still someone who, you just think the risk of immunizations is too high regardless of the benefit, again, you just want to be able to have your immune system in the best position possible. Some of that comes down to just good hygiene practices, washing your hands often, covering your mouth whenever, you sneeze, trying to distance or avoid others. If you are sick, just try to make sure to stay at home to not infect others. Also, as far as, my always go to anytime I feel the little tickle in the back of my throat is a product called Emergency High Dose Vitamin C. There's other products like that, vitamin C, zinc supplementation. another one, L-lysine, just some of these things that are known to boost the immune system within that case that may not prevent you from getting it, but it'll help you get over whatever you're going through faster. So that's really the name of the game. We want to keep our immune systems as mature as possible. There are times where vaccines, and again, I generally do believe that the vaccines that we have on the market are safe for most people. Again, everyone's risk and benefit tolerance is a little different. But certainly anything that we can do, as well as diet and lifestyle, to keep ourselves healthy all year round so that our immune systems can be in the best shape whenever they're exposed to whatever.
It's just something people don't realize, at least in my opinion, is there's, because it's been in the forefront, the COVID and the flu, that there's other vaccines out there that people have allergic reactions to, just like they do with these vaccines.
Yes.
And so that's why all of a sudden, because they've been so politicized, they're like, oh my God, these are bad for you and they're going to kill me. When really it's just a reaction. And there's a lot of times, especially with the flu, there's alternatives that you can take, supplements and things like that.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, getting our immune systems in the best position possible to fight whatever foreign bacteria or foreign viruses. And again, immunizations are proven to be safe and effective. However, there are side effects or adverse reactions. Everyone's risk-benefit tolerance is a little different. That's the common thing I tell my students and come across for. And the best thing I can do is to provide you the risk and benefits of all options on the table, and you to make the best decision for
people
yourself.
have reactions daily to regular medicines as well, prescription drugs.
Yeah, and I try to put in this perspective too, because you think about, okay, who is the group that they're kind of having to cope with this change as much as possible. They're the ones that they want to feel safe and protected, even if now they're now they're being told that, well, you're not a high risk group. So even though getting it, you think it's going to give you the best benefit possible to be safe against COVID or safe against the flu, you're not a high risk group. So now we're not going to, the FDA is saying we're not going to indicate the vaccine for this. So this group is, being told that, hey, you've been doing an action to protect yourself that you believe to protect yourself, but now you're not going to have that option anymore. Or you could have it, but your doctor's going to have to write the prescription for you. Off-label use is a common thing in medicine. Your insurance is likely not going to cover it. So if it's, if you're not in the indicated group, you're probably going to have to pay out of pocket for yourself. But I kind of equate it to folks, again, just have some empathy, put yourself in that position, that person's shoes or position. Think about sinus infections. Sinus infections, very common thing where people have said to me, like, nope, I just know as soon as my boogers turn green, I get a Z-Pack, the azithromycin,
right,
and that takes care of it. Anytime we give someone antibiotics, in that case, really you're only, most of the time it's viral, so antibiotics aren't going to work in that case. If it is bacterial, you're really only reducing the duration of your infection by 2 or 3 days, when you would be likely to still get over that over just rest, staying hydrated, and staying at home. And if the side effects of that Z-Pack, when you take it, it's like setting a nuke off in your digestive system. So you're destroying your gut health. And we have only scratched the surface of understanding the connection between gut health, microbiome, and chronic disease in general. And you're also, every time you take an antibiotic, it's less likely to work for you in the future. So by using antibiotics more and more whenever we maybe didn't have to, that's a future cost that, we're going to have to face down the road. So, it's kind of like telling that group, the people that knows, like, hey, I get the sinus infection, I take the antibiotic, I'm good. Like, that other side effect stuff doesn't matter to me. That's like telling that group that, hey, we're now not going to allow you to get Z-Packs for sinus infections, because we know that the risks of doing that outweigh the benefits.
I try to let it run its course as much as I can.
That's in my opinion, I think that's the best thing you can do within the week or two when you have that. Again, fluids support your immune system, just as we had discussed. If you need something for the symptoms, but a lot of times in that position, it'll run its course, and if you take that antibiotic long term, you're doing more harm than good.
Are there supplements out there that you could take on a daily basis to help, like maybe your immune system, so that you can be a little bit more immune to some of these?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't recommend like some of the stuff that we had talked, like the high dose vitamin C and some of those things. Doing that every single day, especially the high dose vitamin C. If you have kidney problems, that could end up doing more harm than good. I think it is important just to talk it over with, if you have a trusted pharmacist, or if anyone wants to stop down in their particular situation to talk. But really, again, a lot of it comes down to diet and lifestyle also. So even if you're able to avoid fast food, processed foods, things that are going to keep your body in an inflammation state all the time, that's probably the best thing that you could do in a day-to-day basis to keep your immune system in like the best shape that it can be, to fighting these things off whenever you do get exposed to them.
That's pretty informative, for people, because a lot of people just don't know what to do. And right now, it's so untrying time. Right now we're in untrying times because people are so confused and not knowing what to do at this point. It's like, so you got the battles going back and forth. So we appreciate you kind of trying to straighten it out some for everybody. If someone wants to get more information about Forward RX, how can they do that?
Yeah, sure. So they can go to our website. It's fwdrx.com, or you can give us a call, 724-246-6257, or just stop on in the pharmacy in New Brighton. We're on the main street there at 809 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. We're open from 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, as well as Saturdays from 9 to 1. And thanks to the Facebook Live video, if you recognize me and I'm walking on the street, just grab me on the street and ask the question.
Come here. Hey, come here. I got a question. So, Isaac, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
Good luck, and good luck. When do you graduate? May?
Yeah, May 1st will be my graduation date.
So when do you start your new job? Right after that?
Yeah, so usually it depends on when the university processes transcripts, when you're eligible to sit for the boards. Should be able to sit for the boards in late May, early June.
Okay.
And then I should get my license within a month of that.
Awesome. Well, good luck. It's a pleasure meeting you. You'll pass.
On the first try.
I have
Thank
faith.
You. I appreciate it.
You had a good teacher.
Yes, I did. I've had a lot of great teachers.
That's awesome.
On my different places, but Brandon's definitely a great one.
I appreciate it. You're from the county. That helps.
Yeah,
yes,
there you
go.
Pharmacists from the county do well.
One foot in the door already.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll see you next month then.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot. Coming up next, Noah's here and he has news, and I also put a link to the Honeycomb credit thing where you can invest in Forward RX. We'll put a link to that on the Facebook page as well. And then other than that, we'll see you sometime next month.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, Noah's coming up with news next here on Beaver County Radio.
Unprecedented times. Staying informed with accurate information is a necessity, especially in an emergency. Believe it or not, the power to stay informed and be aware on important news alerts in your area is right at your fingertips. Beaver County Emergency Services urges you to sign up for instant mobile message alerts today. It's quick and easy. And once you enroll, Amber Alerts, weather emergencies, and many valuable safety, warning, and important news bulletin updates will arrive as text messages in your cell phone. Sign up now by visiting beavercountypa.gov. It's free, and it could be a lifesaver for you or somebody else in trouble. Put your fingertips to work and turn your phone into an instant notification alert device. Beaver County Emergency Services, along with other partner organizations, is pleased to make instant notifications available to you. So sign up today.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. At Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, they have the resources available to see your case from start to finish. Attorney Larry Kelly.
You know, at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, we're big boys. We assume all the costs, and we don't expect you to pay a penny. Now, what happens is if you go to trial and the verdict is not favorable, you don't owe us any fees, nor do you reimburse us the cost. Now, if we're successful, then you'll pay a fee and you'll reimburse us the cost from the recovery. That's the way we do it at LGKG, and that's the way we've done it forever.
For your initial consultation,